Welcome to Rush Mode, our podcast with 3 topics, 10 minutes each. My name's Rad.
I'm Matt.
Before we get started, just want to say, if you got any ideas for topics that we can talk about for about 10 minutes, just post them in the comments. Give this video a like, subscribe if you want to see more podcasts like it. So our first topic to get into today is a question. I think many of us, we've all asked ourselves the same question. It is, how is Woods like an onion? And so if you don't know the context, in Cold War, there's a chance that Woods will say a line in one mission to Mason. Mason says, sarcastically, "You're the expert in quiet." And Woods says, "I'm a goddamn onion, Mason." Many people were very perplexed, so we're gonna just kind of give our thoughts on what does it mean to be an onion. So Matt, what do you think he meant by that?
Well, the first thing, I think the implications go pretty deep here, but there's only a chance you'll hear it. It's not like guaranteed.
Yeah, sometimes you play it, you get just a different set of lines.
Really? Because I've only played through once, and I didn't know that because I heard it there. I just thought it was there all the time. Well, I think that's the first step, right? You only hear it some of the time, right? So it's kind of like akin to being, quiet, like it's there, it's not there. Onions, you think of Shrek and they have layers, and, at the core is what you really want, right? But on the outside, it's just
an onion?
Yeah, right? I don't know. No, it's not. I don't know. I don't
know.
You
gotta take the core out, yeah.
You're right.
Now, see when you're at Subway, you gotta get the skin off, and then you gotta cut it in half, take the core out. Core you don't want.
That's right. Well, the core, but that's used for making more onions.
The
right?
layers are the juicy part. Those are I guess he's a layered individual. He's at his core, maybe he's broken, but the nuance is what you care about.
But the core is for new life.
Yes, you plant
new life. That's what that's at the core, and it's
that's
the sacrifice.
What he meant.
Yeah, it's you see, it's like him doing all of these missions, these clandestine, secret missions, protecting us at home, because we're like the core and he's the layer, protecting us from the outside forces.
Right. It's actually it's a much deeper line than people give it credit for.
Yeah.
To say that Woods is like an onion, because it's not just an onion; it's a symbol.
And it's like the Woods. The manner in which he speaks. It's very direct. He uses a lot of action words, and and what onions do, they make you cry, right? They bring out emotion. It's like Woods exactly like that. He's a man of action. It's not there's sort of brevity, but it's direct. You know what he's going to say. And onions, you open an onion, you start to cry.
Right. Yeah. No, I cried whenever they recast Woods. I mean, that's why. That's when I cried. That's when men cried.
That's true. Is it like which Woods is an onion then? I guess it would have to be this new Woods.
Fake Woods. Let's see.
Are there? Maybe it's like the archetypes, right? Maybe that's the other thing, is he's realizing that there's different layers of Woods. So there's
it's Woods all the way down.
Yeah, but they're like clones. You know what I mean? So you have so each layer is actually an archetype, and then you have the real Woods. So what he's really selling to me, he's really telling Mason that they're the first archetypes in Project Blackout, and the real Woods and the real Mason are somewhere else, and it's the existential crisis of, he's basically living in someone else's shoes.
Yes. This is also an explanation as to how that Cold War, as we play it, takes place in the new universe, right? Mm-hmm. Because you look at the multiverse as an onion, right? And it's got many layers, many universes, fractures. But then there's the core. There's Samantha, right? The children, the innocence,
the hollow earth,
the soul. Yes, that too. And so you send the core. You use it to create new life. You create a new onion with, I guess, less layers.
Yeah.
I guess. And so this is the new Woods with less layers, with less character. Yes, because that's what I think he meant with that line.
I think that's true, and it also, he's in zombies now. You know, I think it's no coincidence that this woods now all of a sudden shows up in the new Dark Aether maps. So he's clearly referencing, for those who didn't click on the zombies mode in the beginning, he's telling everyone that, hey, go check out zombies mode because Samantha is in the Dark Aether story. So it's really a parallel to what we're eventually going to experience in Dark Aether. And I think, yeah.
Well, now here's the thing. This is the next question I have for you.
Samantha has layers.
She does. Any new layers? What kind of onion is it? Is it a red onion or a white onion? Because red onions have that kind of nasty kind of taste if you eat it alone. You know, that, like back of your throat, like you can't get that out. But like pretty good cooked. White onions, you know, they're you can kind of have them raw. Just put them. They're not. I mean, they're not exactly. It's not exactly tasty, but it's not gonna make you sick. What do you think is? I think woods fits pretty well with the red onions.
I was gonna say red, because it's the closest to red, white, and blue.
Yes.
I think that's true. Also the sacrifice and everything. I think that's where we're going with woods. Is a red onion.
Yes, so he's an American hero. Yes. Also another question. I mean, why are the red onions called red onions? I mean, they're purple. What's up with that?
Well, I guess because red and blue, right, make purple, and it's white, so red, white.
American onion.
American onion. So Woods is he's an all-American character.
And they make you cry because they're soldiers. They sacrifice.
And their voice actors were replaced.
Yes, and it's very sad. It's very sad that people lose work, and
it's like
they go great on burgers as well.
Did you ever play it's not the prequel game to Metal Gear Solid 5. Is it Ground Zeroes? If you ever play that,
yeah.
there's a mission where long story, it actually has to do with the CIA black site, so that's connections. Remember, keep that in mind with blackout and everything. But there's like one mission where you go around the map and there's all logos on the wall of all the previous Metal Gear games, and then when you shine your flashlight on them, they're like erased. And it led people to believe that Kojima knew what was happening, and this is like a meta way of saying his legacy, his name, because I don't think it even does it say Kojima Productions. I don't remember. Anyway, but his name is getting removed, and I think that we're seeing something similar here with the Onion and the removal of James C. Burns.
Yes, it's erasing history is what it is, and it's like that's why the tagline "Know your history." Well, history is not exactly as it was written.
Yeah. And that's
by the victor.
So it's really about woods, is what you're saying.
Yes. Cold War was about woods, basically.
And the frozen forest is a woods. And you keep onions in the refrigerator.
Go on.
And woods is an onion. And he's in the refrigerator, which is the frozen forest, which is somehow connected to blackout. So I think this is where we should be, and Woods is in zombies, right?
Okay. Yeah. Very good point. Next question is: anyone listening at this point? Did you tune out at the the red onion question?
I don't know. I guess YouTube analytics will probably.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I look at exactly when you guys drop off, and
just put in a timestamp to just be like, go to the next question. You can just skip.
Right. I had to front load this podcast with this question just so we know who the real fans are.
Yeah.
We see who sticks around through this question. Yeah, onions. They're good on cheeseburgers. Good on. I like to put them in some scrambled eggs sometimes.
Mm.
Yeah, good on fajitas. Fajitas are good.
I'm picky, so I'm not really a big fan of onions unless it's Woods. That's the only onion that I like. But
and Shrek's nice.
That's true. I can't disrespect Shrek. Also, Woods likes Burger Town, right?
Ah, yes.
Onions, Burger Town, Bubby.
Yeah, it was foreshadowing, basically.
Yeah.
That might have been a previous mission, but
I think it was.
yeah,
But it's like it's just a callback, you know?
You get it.
Like
It's a theme. It's a running theme. Theme of woods, basically. Anyway, I'll just cut it short here. Good onion talk.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most fruitful or vegetable discussion we've had.
It's the most vegetable.
I mean, that makes just about as much fucking sense as that line. So,
all right, let's move on to a more nuanced question with more layers. Our next topic is about the Chancellor. Who is he, and why is he alive? So, for context, in Tag der Toten, Richthofen mentions offhandedly how Group 935 is working for, quote-unquote, the Chancellor. The first thing you would think of is how they just don't want to say the Fuhrer or Hitler. But, I mean, that radio takes place in September of 1945. And we know that in the real world, and most likely in zombies as well, that World War II in Europe, at least, ended in May, and that Hitler died in the bunker in the end of April. So it's like, the question is, who is the Chancellor? Why is Germany still operating? That's kind of what we're going to talk about. So, Matt, I know a while back you kind of introduced to me, because I was kind of mad about the timeline discrepancy, but you kind of brought up a cool idea. So you want to go kind of get that?
yeah, no problem. Because at first it just seems like a simple mistake, but it's also a big mistake. And
yeah,
I would think that at this point, even just sort of simply just putting up like dates about when did World War II start, when did it end, would have been known. So my guess, and given COD's like history with conspiracy theories, was I thought maybe they were talking about the whole Odessa conspiracy about the Nazis that were fleeing Europe, and I think they were going to Argentina. There was the whole connection between like the Vatican and a bunch of other places sort of out, and maybe, maybe Hitler is still alive. I mean, there's always the conspiracy of like, oh, Hitler's in the hollow earth or whatever, but if it's not Hitler or cyborg Hitler or whatever, that what we're seeing is the Chancellor they're referring to is like a government in exile operating from another part of the world that's trying to, make like the Fourth Reich or still continue their project. I think it has a lot of like merit in Call of Duty lore. It's just not explicit, but I feel like that's the implication, because it seems like a pretty glaring mistake to make if it was just like, oh yeah, it's still supposed to be Hitler.
Yeah, they put a lot of thinking into everything. So I feel like that. Yeah, that's a good. They definitely had to have thought about that, if anything, because I don't think they would just say because I think everything else about history that ties in, it's the same date as the real world. Like World War II ends on the exact same day in real life as it is in the timeline. So it's like it's not quite like history plays out very, very differently. It kind of plays out in parallel, and
it's not like Dimension 63 or anything with like the Primus's universe. So it's pretty much like our history. Like it's not even, we can't even use, it's an alternate universe where something else happened. Like I think that's the understanding, is that it is in the if it's not our quote unquote universe, at least a universe that plays out very similarly. So
right.
I would have to imagine.
Buy that. Yeah.
I don't know if do the Black Ops terminals mention anything about Odessa? I don't know.
I don't think so explicitly.
Because it's kind of like a missing piece to the whole Nazi conspiracy arc. Because it always ends with like, is Hitler alive or is he not? Or did the Nazis flee to Antarctica? Where did they go? Are they in that like there's even the Iron Sky series, right? Where they're in like the Hollow Earth. And then I think Iron Sky starts with a Nazi moon base. So like if Treyarch is aware of all these things.
This is even a thing in Cold War now. There's the whole Germania and the Nazis hiding in the dark ether. So this is definitely like a plot point. Could be even fresh on their mind. Like that maybe even like that's a thread maybe they were even going to do if there were more ether maps.
So what you're saying is they listened
carrying over.
They listened to the previous podcast and they're like, okay.
Right.
But yeah, it has to be that. Like I don't. I feel like that is just one of the most popular Nazi tropes, is that they're hiding and they're coming back. So to have a chancellor, and like you said,
it kind of makes sense to where like because I mean the whole thing with the Siberia project is they're working on the super soldiers.
Yes.
So it's like if you're gonna come back, rise up after losing the actual land mass of Germany, you're gonna come back like swinging with a whole army of dead and super soldiers.
And I know we all talked about like how the relationship worked out with the Siberia base. Like, oh, was it initially approved by the Soviet Union before Germany broke, their non-aggression pact? But we have teleportation and all this other stuff, so it's not like that out of the question to assume swear or have they have stuff, bases, things set around the world where they could hide out.
See, that actually ties into another thing. This is a theory that I believe Anonymous on the forum posted a while back. It was that, so we know in the Giant that we find out that Primus without Richthofen were just kind of wandering around for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
In that like in like the main timeline. And Dempsey mentions like seeing the Pack-Lunch machine in many different places, including the moon. I don't remember some other ones, but one of them was Brazil.
Okay.
That one sticks out because we've never ever been there before. So it's like he had the theory that Dempsey in that time, and I guess the rest of Primus were like hunting Nazis in South America, which is such an interesting concept to me.
Yeah, I think it would. Like, there's so many. We talk about like side stories that would be fun to explore. I think that would be perfect, especially. I don't know. It sounds like the Hollow Earth is sort of like metaphorical now in COD's lore, where I don't really know if like Earth is technically hollow, but it's like maybe it's like you teleport. But it would have been a really fun place to sort of explore stuff like that, like an Antarctica map, maybe where it opens up. You have like the stuff with Admiral Byrd. Like they could have done so much. Even kind of go like a la Wolfenstein with maybe like an Argentina. I think of like the Chancellor's compound or something where you fight like a super soldier, like or some like cyborg Chancellor zombie. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it could have been really interesting. I think maybe if you wanted to just say the reason why nothing ever happened is because of Primus going there, like is that their goal seemed to be in this universe while Richthofen was doing the whole Phenorium, the house, all that crap. Dempsey and the rest of them were seemingly just like trying to right the wrongs in this universe and prevent like horrible events from happening. So maybe then they're trying to get rid of all the secret Nazi bases and stuff, and like maybe that's the reason why because Germany had all the advantage with Group 935 on their side, but seemingly they lost the same way. So
it doesn't really address like why didn't Primus go after the Soviet Union and the United States? I guess maybe because they eventually would with, like Alpha Omega and stuff, but it would kind of neatly compact the sort of Nazi aspect of Nazi zombies, because once we get past sort of World at War, even Black Ops, it pretty much becomes all like Richthofen, and you don't really get a sense of what happened to everyone else in 935, excluding those directly tied to Richthofen. So like I can't imagine, there were plenty of other people, Nazis tied to this organization, who had their own vision of what they wanted, and it would be I can't imagine that they just disappeared. They probably took that technology elsewhere.
Right. Well, consider where they came from, right? They came from World War One. The Germans were like near to winning with all their technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had the giant robots and like
yeah.
By the way, it seemed to be going. It seemed capturing Richthofen and bringing that technology to their own side. And now they're in this new universe. They realize, well, the Germans in this universe are about to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Their technology. So they're going to thwart them before it even like takes off, or gets to the point where it was in their world.
Well, you know what?
That makes a lot of sense to me.
And it also explains why they wouldn't have conceived of America or the Soviet Union doing anything, dastardly with it.
Yeah. They probably want to bring it. They actually probably want to bring it to their own people. Yeah. I don't know. I do wonder how Takeo would feel. Takeo must have heard like Japan is on Germany's side in this universe. I wonder why that's not addressed, I guess. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It's an
maybe it's
interesting
like
wrinkle.
it's oh, it's a different Japan
And
because
maybe
like
even for all we know, like maybe the group even split up in that time, and like they just came back together for the giant. That's a possibility,
mm,
maybe. So I don't know if I don't remember if Dempsey says like we saw this stuff or I just saw this stuff in those places. But
well, to me, it almost sounds like yeah, I don't know what the Brazil connection, but at least talking about the moon, it almost sounds like they were trying to trace Ultimus's footsteps. But does that? Well, I guess here's the question: did Ultimus go to Brazil then?
Alchemist could have been anywhere at any point in time. There's probably like 5 other classifieds, just
Yes,
in between stories of them just we supposed to go there, we ended up somewhere else. They spent like 2 weeks on a lander flying across Europe, so
and no one saw them. I guess.
they didn't need fuel or anything. Mm.
It's just like I just don't get when you have a teleporter. It's you have your fictional out right there. They teleported.
Oh no, just fly on the lander.
The lander itself could be a
He placed
teleporter.
the lander there ahead of time. Yeah, it's a super lander.
Yeah, I guess it's pack-a-punched or something. I don't know.
Right. Anyway, had fun with that one. That was a good topic. So our last topic of the night is another question. What would you change about Cold War Zombies? So gameplay, story, whatever you like. So I guess by the end of the season, where would you want it to go?
Mm. Are we talking story-wise or like gameplay-wise?
Just everything, whatever you have gripes with, maybe, or just maybe something improving.
I think. Okay, so I've said this before. My biggest gripe, with the Cold War zombie system, is that as much as they want to integrate it with Warzone and Cold War, it's really weird. I mean, I'm happy that we have this shared progression, but you don't really get to do anything with it because at least in Black Ops 3 and 4, any attachments or skins you unlock, you can put on your gun, but you don't get to use that in zombies. And when this whole system was like, oh, well, you could strictly be a zombie player and unlock stuff through the season pass. You could then jump into multiplayer or Warzone if you feel inclined, but you don't have to bounce between modes. You can just strictly play in one mode to get. I mean, I know there's some skins that are they're mode exclusive, but the point is, you're not missing out by playing zombies for the most part. But like, you only have one weapon you can bring in,
Yeah.
and so it's just like, at least in Black Ops 4, when I added attachments to my guns, I would find them on the wall buy, and then when I'd buy them, attachments, like, I feel there should be an option, maybe if they wanted to keep it like Warzone, where you can call in like a loadout drop, where you could bring in,
Oh, yeah, do
yeah,
that.
like you could either do that, or I don't know, just give us a more expensive option on the wall buys. That's like, buy your custom gun, and but maybe you make it more, or maybe you make it less. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what is the right way to incentivize.
Based on how many attachments are on it.
Yeah,
Something like that.
okay, it could be based on how many attachments. That's true. Because it could be like, okay, well, you can buy your gun, but if you want, because I'm thinking of like, if you don't have the attachments, you can buy your gun, or you can take a risk and buy, a randomized version that could have better attachments. But that also makes sense too, because if you have everything unlocked, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would be something that would be hard to implement, because like my honest question is, if you want this integration, if you want these skins and attachments, it's like, well, and it's like, you want zombies to feel just as viable, and what's the point if I only bring in one gun and then you just, that's how, I don't know. That's my biggest change, I think, mechanically, to either have it where you can buy it as a wall buy, or buy like some loadout drop like Warzone.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, no, that seems like such a major downgrade in the past, considering all the other good stuff they've done with gameplay.
Yeah.
It was just like such a good system, just completely customized from the get go.
And I think it's also from or it's also related to Warzone, but the gun editor is not in. The paint shop. They don't want it like online play or whatever with Warzone or whatever, but like it was just a weird feature that's removed now, because it was been in since the emblem editor and the gun paint shop, I think, well, maybe gun paint shop was Black Ops 3, but like those two things have been in there. One of the two, sorry, has been in there since Black Ops, and it's just like kind of a staple of the series that now is removed. And I like that layer of customization. I don't know, it just feels kind of cheap. It's like, it was there before, but now it's not. So,
Right. Another critique. I mean, this one I know they can't change. We're already too deep in. Like, this is just the operators. The way that they're implemented, and it's like I get that this is like a necessary evil, so we don't have like bad microtransactions, like the kind of overpowered ones, because then now it's like the microtransactions are the skins for and there are some expensive skins for these operators, and that's your payment method. And like I don't know, they don't feel, maybe this sounds pretentious, but I would rather it feel like I'm in like it's a game, I guess. Like I would want to feel that like I'm integrated to the game. Like when I do an Easter egg in Cold War, I don't feel like the character is involved at all. It feels just very disconnected. Like this is.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, it's hard when, I mean, only the first two maps, Noct and Verrucht. Well, no, Verrucht had voice acting, so it's like since the beginning of the series, more and more voice lines and characters being integrated to.
Dog and
yeah,
Alpha Mega were just like top tier writing. Like I was sure they really refined their craft. And then now it's the voice lines. There's nothing, and it's like the common straw man I hear is that it's just you want funny German man say funny line, but like that's not it. I like the levity, that's for sure. Like I do enjoy when a character is just bantering and there's levity and it's funny, but also they just don't feel like they belong.
Well,
they feel out of place. It feels like a different game.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I want to hear a funny German man say funny line, but Mob of the Dead, right? You have Shadows of Evil. You have examples of, I think, the subsequent crews that they added. I think Victus in the beginning was a little kind of shaky, just because they were trying to, they were the next in line with Ultimus, and I don't know, it didn't really fill that void very well. But Mob of the Dead, Shadows of Evil, I thought those characters were interesting, and even just from a story perspective, I mean, I guess there were some funny jokes, but like I don't remember them for like the stupid one-liners. So it's just like, oh, that's really cool. I like learning the backstory, and like I said, I think I would argue probably Mob of the Dead is those characters are like revered in the community. So I think that's a pretty good counterexample to it's like, oh well. We just want to hear like stupid lines, which I do. I do want to hear stupid lines. It's not a lie, but there's more to it, because it's like I think Woods would be. I mean, he's in it, but like it doesn't feel like Woods is in it.
It doesn't like he's in a video game. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
day at the office.
Yeah, because like that's a missed opportunity. Woods, I mean Weaver, to have them be playable. Like I would have been okay, like connecting it back to, let's say the last thing where first map is like, oh, Chancellor's compound, Woods and Weaver have to kill the Nazi Chancellor or something like that in exile. Like, so, like, even if you did those side stories, like still having those characters actually feel present in the map would be better. I mean, I know it's because of Warzone, and it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, I really do like everything kind of flowing into each other, but on the other hand, this is the problem you get where I'm still not even sure. Like, I understand lore-wise there is a difference between Omega Group and the Soviet Union at large, but like why Warsaw Pact operators are technically in direct communication with Weaver, like it leaves so much dissonance. And normally it's like, oh no, it's just gameplay, but like Treyarch made points and wall buys canon, so we're just gonna
that's what I wanted to. Yeah, that's the word I was trying to think of. The ludonarrative dissonance. It had a whole series at the very beginning of Podcaster Toten. Like when I came back about that topic, and like how gameplay relates to story, and it's like they like points and wall buys, everything's kind of explained, but then that is just don't talk about it, don't even think about it.
Yeah, it's like, I'm fine with just ignoring it, but I don't know what to ignore now when we had characters making explicit references to chalk drawings and Monty going out of his way to talk about how he did the perk jingles, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know.
I want to be immersed or not immersed, just whichever.
Yeah.
Another thing, just quick, is the
face paint. I want face paint back.
face. Yeah, face paint. I just want them to answer. I want them to just answer the lingering questions from the end of Tog already. Like I understand it's only season 2 of 6, and we're only at the first map, but like, it just feels like such a slow trickle of. I just want to know where's Eddie, and then what's the thing with Sam? Does he remember anything? I just want to move on. I want to get to the story, but like it's the same thing with Black Ops 4, where I wanted them to finish Ether so that I could get into Chaos, but they never. They did it at the same time. Just I want to move on, and like I don't know. I'm tired of the slow burn, I guess.
I would say this Cold War. The issue with Cold War, and maybe it's because they're trying to introduce new people, so that's I don't want to completely ostracize this, but from people who've like followed the series and know the story, it feels like it's this reversal of where we know more than the actual characters. Like before, as you kind of went through the maps, obviously the story was being told to you, and most of the characters kind of like Richtofen especially knew what was going on. So at the very least, you were following the characters as they discovered things. But in Cold War, it's like they're like, well, what is this Nazi project? What's the Dark Ether? What's going on? And it's like we kind of know this. We knew what happened with Tog, and it led to this. So it's like we're basically waiting for the characters to catch up to where we are in the story.
Right. That's kind of...
that's just like... I'm just...
But I think that'll be remedied by the end of the whole series. Because then, it's all there. But like, the slow burn, the season method...
And like, I get it. Yeah, totally get it. Maybe it's because they want to introduce new people, but it's just... I just feel like I've been on pause since Tog.
I'm waiting for the answers so I can move on. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So,
anyway, just to clarify, we don't hate Cold War.
No.
That topic was just critiques about like what we would change, what we would do differently. But
yeah, so don't kill our Activision sponsorship just yet.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, good rush mode, Matt. Good talking to you.
Anytime.
See you guys next time.